With Wild Card Weekend in the books, it is time to look forward to the next round of the NFL playoffs, the Divisional round, where 8 teams remain in the quest to hoist the Lombardi Trophy in Tampa, Florida on February the 7th. Johnny Talk Sports here to bring you my predictions for the Divisional round of the 2020 NFL playoffs. And we've got some exciting matchups this week. We have got the Rams and the Packers. The Rams led the league in total defense in the regular season, while the Packers, with Aaron Rodgers, there is always a chance the Packers have of winning the Super Bowl. Then on the prime time for Saturday night, we've got Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, both quarterbacks picking up their first wins in the playoffs. Two quarterbacks that are the future rising stars in the league. Lamar Jackson, the defending MVP recipient, and Josh Allen, who had an MVP type of season, but kind of got overshadowed a bit by Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. And we have the ultimate underdog team, the Browns, taking on the Chiefs, the defending champions. And to conclude the divisional weekend, we have got the Buccaneers and the Saints. We've got Brady versus Brees. It is likely that it is the last time that we get to see Tom Brady versus Drew Brees. So let's get right to the predictions. We're going to begin with the Rams and the Packers. And this is going to be a very interesting game. Now, the Packers are coming off of a bye week because they earned the number 1 seed in the NFC. While the Rams, they're coming off of a dominant win against the Seahawks in Wild Card Weekend. Now, people seem to criticize the Rams mainly for losing to the Jets, but the Browns also lost to the Jets, who are also in this divisional round of the playoffs. And we also got to put into account that the Rams, they struggled on offense in this later portion of the season, which included, I believe it was 31 or 32 straight offensive possessions without a touchdown offensively. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but I know it was at least over 30 possessions. And for the most part, the Rams have been carried by their defense, but also Cam Akers stepped up in the running game for the Rams last week. And in the process of beating the Seahawks, the Rams, they did have some injuries in this game. I mean, Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald, they were both banged up in the game, but Cooper Kupp's injury is nothing serious, and he is slated to play this week against the Packers. While Aaron Donald, the Rams are, the last I heard that he was hopeful to play. They're hoping that he can play, and it's likely that he will be able to. Because without Aaron Donald, I don't think the Rams have a chance in this one. But with Aaron Donald, I think it's a possibility that they can win this game. It strikes with the Packers losing their best offensive lineman in David Bakhtiari in Week 16 with an ACL injury. So I think if that Rams pass rush and get to Aaron Rodgers, I think the Rams have a good chance of pulling off this upset. And I know people also like to say that Aaron Rodgers is a lot better in Green Bay than he is on the road, especially in Lambeau during the playoffs. But home field, I feel like, is irrelevant this season with the limited to no fan attendance. Because the Packers, with the exception of, I believe, one game where they allowed, I think it was 500 frontline workers and their families to watch the game against the Titans, the Packers have had no fan attendance all season long. And I'm unsure on if fans will attend this game on Saturday afternoon. But I think the Rams make this a game. Because the matchup within the matchup is going to be interesting. Davante Adams versus Jalen Ramsey. Now, I know Davante Adams, I said that he can be a mismatch for anybody. But Jalen Ramsey held his own against DK Metcalf last week. And the only time where DK Metcalf was effective was it felt like a broken play, and Russell Wilson, he was able to extend that play. Other than that, DK Metcalf, was held in check really nicely. So if Jalen Ramsey can hold Devontae Adams and forcing another wide receiver to step up for the Packers, whether it's Valdez Scantling or Alan Lazard or even Robert Tonyan, I mean, if you have to have one of those three beat you instead of Devontae Adams in coverage, fine. I think you can be okay with yourself allowing anybody else to beat you in the game except for Devontae Adams. But at the end of the day, I think this is a very close game. The Rams in from start to finish. Cam Akers, I think, will step up in this running game because offensively, the Rams has really struggled in these last several weeks. And I'm going to pick the Packers to win this one very closely. I'm going to say 27-23. Next, we have the primetime Saturday night game between the Ravens and the Bills. As I mentioned from the beginning, it is a battle of two of the up-and-coming stars in this league. Lamar Jackson, the reigning MVP, while Josh Allen, he had a season that's worthy of being an MVP, but I think it's down to Mahomes and Rodgers at this point. Now, this game, it is possible that there could be some snow because the weather does call for snow a little bit around game time. So if that's the case, then this can come down to the team that runs the ball the best. And that is not what you want to hear if you're the Bills, with Zach Moss being out for the remainder of the playoffs. Now, I know the Bills aren't necessarily a run first with the running game anyways, but Josh Allen can still run with the football, and Devin Singletary can step up in the running game. However, the huge X factor in this game is going to be the secondary. Marlon Humphrey struggled against A.J. Brown last week in the wild card round, and he's going to be covering Stephon Diggs. So that is a match to look out for. But if this game, if it has some snowy conditions, I would favor the running team in this matchup. And the team that runs the ball the best, I think, will win. And during the season, that was the Ravens. And J.K. Dobbins has stepped up in the Ravens running game throughout the end of the regular season and last week in the playoffs. So I'm going to pick the Ravens in this one. I think the Ravens, they win this very closely. I think the difference will be the running game in this matchup, as I've mentioned. I think the Ravens, they pick up a 24-20 win over the Bills. In our next matchup of the divisional round, we have the Cleveland Browns taking on the Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions. Now, Chase Claypool has already done his trash talk. Now the Browns are going to get clapped by the Chiefs. Well, I don't know what he meant by clapped. I really don't. Does he mean that the Browns are just going to lose? Or are they going to get beaten like Alabama beat Ohio State last night in the national championship game? If that's what he means by clapped, I don't think that's going to happen. Do I think the Chiefs are going to win this game? Yes. Do I think it's going to be by 10 points, which is the current line? Call me crazy, but no. I think the Browns, they make this a game. I think the Browns keep this in one possession. And the reason why? Let's take out Week 17 for the Chiefs, when they were resting all their starters, including Mahomes, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. Let's take Week 17 out of the equation. In their last 7 games, the Chiefs have only won by 1 possession. And when the Browns have a running game like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they can easily have the blueprint to pull off this ups against the Chiefs. If you try to shorten the game for the Chiefs, take long drives, take an 8-minute drive, even if you only get a field goal out of it, momentum on your side, keep Mahomes on the sidelines. The more Patrick Mahomes is on the sidelines, the better. Now, in the Chiefs' only real loss of the season to the Raiders by 8 points, Josh Jacobs carried the ball, I believe it was 22 times. Now, For the Browns to win this game, I think Nick Chubb has to have about 25 touches. Kareem Hunt's got to have about 12 to 15. So if the Browns if they can shorten this game up for the Chiefs, I think the Browns have a good shot of pulling off this upset. I know that the Chiefs are coming off of a bye week. They're pretty much coming off of almost 3 weeks of rest based off of a significant amount of players being rested for week 17. But sometimes the teams that have that long of a layoff, they come out a little rusty. And I know Andy Reid is very good after a bye week, but I think this game's going to be very close. I think the Chiefs win, but I think they only win 21 to 17. I think the Browns can keep this game close, especially with the way the Chiefs have been playing in their last 7 games, other than week 17, of course. The Chiefs just haven't looked as dominant as they did the last 2 seasons. So I think the Browns hang in there, but the Chiefs win in the end. And finally, the divisional round wraps up with Tom Brady versus Drew Brees in what will all likely be the last time we see Brady and Brees, as it is being rumored that this is Drew Brees' swan song season. And what a matchup we have. The Bucs and the Saints. Now, this is the 3rd time they're playing each other, and both times they played in the regular season, the Saints, they dominated the Buccaneers. Now, many people say that this Buccaneers team is a lot different than what it was in week 1, which I can understand that because it takes at least a new quarterback, at least a couple of games to get used to that new system, especially with a season where there was the lack of off-season workouts. There was no preseason. So that makes sense. But when they played each other on Sunday Night Football, and I believe that was really a few weeks ago, I think maybe week 10 it might have been, week 9, week 10, whenever it was, the Saints dominated 38-3. So the Buccaneers, and they seem to play the Saints look like a more dominant team. As I know the Saints, their defense has been up and down throughout the season. I mean, both these teams really have had roller coaster type of seasons. But the Saints especially, because dominated week 1, then they lost the Raiders. Their defense doesn't look that well until they play the Buccaneers in prime time. But I think that, yes, this Buccaneers team may look better than it did the last time they played. But the Saints, I think, are Tom Brady's kryptonite. And home field, it's irrelevant. But I still think the Saints will dominate this matchup against the Buccaneers. For some reason, the Saints defense is dominant against the Buccaneers. So I think the Saints win this one. I think they win by at least 14 points. I mean, I'll be surprised if the game is closer than that, but I think the Saints will win by at least 14. So those are my predictions for the divisional round. Like, share, and subscribe. Comment your predictions down below, and I will talk to you next time.